How's it going, laser bruisers? I'm Bobby Sixkilla. Welcome back to the letter. We're still Marianne, and we have unfortunately been caught up in the kitchen alone with whiskey. So that's crap. Try to lighten the mood, I guess.
You're not gonna go out there and join Mrs. Wright? You're starting to look strained. If you want your picture taken so badly, I'm sure the photographer would oblige.
What is it that you want to do then?
Films. Documentaries mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
We need to get you away from the butler. You're starting to sound like him. No, I'm not joining Hana for an interior design magazine photo. What am I? A piece of furniture?
No, you're too loud-mouthed to be a piece of furniture. Furniture's at least quiet.
Look, did a lot of you have anything else crucial to do today? Marianne.
There are still some little things to do. It isn't the end of the day yet.
Yes, but you're paid hourly, aren't you? Per day? Really, I don't care. You and the others can just take off for the day.
Why is he dismissing us early all of a sudden? Is this about the possible security threat? Did my question get him all wary and paranoid that he would just send the workers and I away? I realize the threats are of no actual concern to these rich and powerful people. I imagine whether anyone wants to or not, they get a few enemies here and there. But I'm sure the foreman and his works can be trusted and are of no threat. Well, at least I trust the people I'm working with. I understand if he doesn't know them from a can of paint. Still, won't it be safer if there are people who can watch their back?
You're the boss. My being paid by the day aside, I won't be held responsible for any significant delay caused by your decisions. I'll try to get around that, of course, but I'll just remind you of the fact.
Whatever, take forever with the house. I don't give a bloody damn. Don't you worry, you're still getting your money. Just sod off, go crawl around a pub and find yourself a good lay.
Paranoid or aggravated as he might be, this conversation certainly didn't have to warrant that sort of remark.
Maybe I will.
Walking out of the kitchen, I just accept the fact that whatever he says will go while under his roof. Mrs. Wright and the photographer are still far too busy in conversation to notice me, even as I make my way through the dining hall. Besides, I didn't want to ruin their fun.
Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Going to the foyer has me stumbling upon the family butler once more, who raises a brow at my presence.
And where are you off to in a hurry, Miss McCulloch? The foreman is looking for you.
The Bratwurst wants us off the clock. He's dismissing us early because of... Oh, I don't know. He just wants us out of here.
I'll go and call a cab for you then. It would be for the best that you leave when he asks you to.
I don't doubt it. My ride back to the city doesn't take too long to get there. Granted, there were some difficulties at first because the driver didn't know where the Ermengarde mansion is. He tried to have us hand over the GPS coordinates from our smartphones or some other techno-babble I don't care about, and the butler didn't understand. But as soon as we told him that it's a haunted mansion over in Anselm Village, he knew just the place, and finally headed over, albeit with some hesitation. All the way back to the city, the driver keeps complaining about the place giving him the willies. It gives me the willies too. I would love to snap back at him. But as soon as the thought occurs to me, another blossoms in my forefront of my mind. One that has somehow bothered me greatly, more than my exasperation over whiskey in this project, or wanting all of it to stop. There's been no Lorraine whispering over my ears today. Worse, I find myself searching for it. Searching for her. Damn new Urethi? Loose ends. Fucking bloody loose ends everywhere. I thought I already moved past this years ago, and it does nothing to help curb my frustration. If anything, it only ensures that I want a stiff drink. And where else do I go to drink? Tuesdays are for karaoke and Wednesdays, improv. Usually it's these four guys who did hilarious games. The one with the Irish drinking songs are always a crowd favourite. Though I love a good laugh, stand-up comedy isn't my thing. And without Cam or Hardiner or any other distractions, I end up drinking a lot more this time. And when there's several bottles of beer in me, I get really, really embarrassing. I can imagine.
G! Psst! G, come over here. I need you for something.
It's a good thing the bartender is a nice fellow. I'd probably be kicked out of other places by now, or worse. It's an Irish bar, I'm sure he's used to it. If push comes to shove, all he would do is give me an easy smile and a shake of his head, even when he's attending to other customers. Just like now.
Give me a moment, will ya? I gotta go check on her.
That sounds like the voice of, the Chief Inspector or whatever. He's some Asian guy. And I'm pretty sure I've seen him somewhere here before a couple of times, although he never talks to anyone else except G. Is it Ash? The girls used to be all over him too, but he always turned them away.
I'll be here. You go do that before she falls over.
Asian Joe?
All right. What is it? Do you need someone to help you get home?
Bartender, pour the wine.
I think that's enough alcohol for you, little missy. I'm cutting you off.
That actually is the Chief Inspector. That's not only his voice, but his actual model as well, in a different set of clothes, right? A whine comes to the back of my throat as he pulls my bottle away. I have no hope of getting them back once they're behind the counter. Even in my drunken mind, I don't dare hop over it for them. Because of what little sense I have left knows I'd sooner take the floor dive than succeed in wresting a bottle from a sober man. But that doesn't stop me from trying to reach out with my arms like a stupid idiot anyway. He smiles and shakes his head, just like I knew he would, before going back to the other guy.
Right now, where were we? How you holding up, boy?
With no drink and no one really to chat with, I would have gone home or gone to sleep on the bar right there and then. But I'm not really ready to stand up and try to trek back home just yet. You get thrown out of a bar if you fall asleep in it. I know.
Same old. I'm still on the Luxborn firm case.
Those blokes they talk about being in dark suits, whisking people into the night or some shit and all that. Didn't the media call it some ridiculous name in the morning news?
What is it this time? Wait, don't answer that. They've called it a lot of things. As long as people don't start running around claiming they're the Illuminati. So, what have you got for me this time, G? Anything good?
Slow down there. You haven't even told me what sort of dealing dosh we got. Who are you looking into this time?
Their talk would have interested me. Would have kept my attention if I gave a damn. But in my current state, I can barely give two fucks about the things going on around me. All these words are just buzzing, barely surfacing from the sea of sounds that is the pub. And would have stayed that way, perhaps even drowned, if I didn't hear his name.
Luke Wright. You know the guy. And don't pretend like you don't, G. It takes a special kind of ignorant not to know who he is.
That smug blonde who likes throwing round his money. He was just here a few days ago, as a matter of fact. Great tipper, if you think him just dumping a wad of cash on the counter after having too much whiskey counts as tipping.
Yeah, I would.
Why are you asking? He dirty?
Of course he is, he's rich.
You have no idea, G. He's probably the worst sort you can imagine.
Luke fucking Wright. Fucking whiskey. Even without him around, I'm still hearing about the guy. What the absolute fuck? Despite this, I find myself getting up and sauntering over to join them before I pipe up.
Is this smack talk about Luke fucking Wright I'm hearing, eh?
Private conversation here, lady.
There's any amusement on G's face. The Asian guy, he starts to look ticked off as hell.
Don't worry, Holmes, she's clean. And she might be able to help you with your, predicament.
Course. A drunk's just stumbled through here with what I need. Get real, G. No offense, lady, but you're smashed.
I know, right? Nothing beats being drunk after a hard day's work. Especially when you're working for Mr. Luke Wright.
So, she works for the guy? Doesn't that make her, I don't know, suspect?
See, have a little faith in me, why don't ya? I don't have much, and you might as well have something to go off. You're the one who was so desperate to come running to me for business.
Yoo-hoo! Still right here, fellas. 5'11", can't miss me. Unlike Shorty over here. What's with that mad look? You want to dance, boy? You don't look like you can bust a groove. Maybe a leg, but with that fancy coat of yours.
To add insult to injury, I moved directly behind him and used the top of his head as an armrest. But when he shakes me off, I plop into the seat right next to him.
Don't try me. You can hardly stay on your feet. We don't want to ruin your fancy coat, do we?
Ah, children, the both of ya. But you're still standing after all that, are ya? Matt, you see this giantess? She's a legendary regular here. Been drinking like there's no tomorrow. I'm a bit jealous. Can't do that anymore or my liver will give out on me. Good with the mic, too. Don't see you much recently, but I guess you're always busy, aren't ya? You're some fancy designer or something, if I remember correctly.
Wait, I know you. You were at the open house for the mansion.
Yeah, that's right. Marianne McCulloch. I'm a famous interior designer extraordinaire. Ooh, that right?
My god, she's like she's got split personality. She's the complete opposite of her professional self.
Anyway, you guys were talking about that weenie Luke
That
Wright,
weenie.
right?
Or something. Can't really talk about it.
She's fun when she's drunk. I just don't like her when she's sober.
I don't even know if I can trust you, even if G said you're clean. But anything would be of help.
Well, I don't gossip about my clients, if that's all there is to this.
You wanted to gossip about him a few minutes ago, Marianne.
And that was the beer talking, not Marianne.
You won't mind if we ask the beer a few questions then?
Maybe. Depends on who's asking and what they're asking. But seriously, that guy is abso-fucking-lutely frustrating. One moment, he's an absolute dickhead. And then he's acting like an actual decent human being the next. I just can't figure him out. I can't imagine how that pretty wife of his can put up with him. If I were her, I'd dump his flat arse straight up.
And I'm not just saying that because I think Hannah's pretty or anything. Luke is a catch too, they both are. Well, you mean he looks nice. He looks nice, but he's a fucking wanker. But I really cannot, for the love of all things holy, see how they even work out together.
So, Luke Wright, have you noticed anything strange about him while you were working with him? Anything peculiar? Of note?
You're the one being peachy right about now, Holmes. But nah, nothing that comes to mind off the top of my head. He's just like most rich, smarmy arseholes and then some.
A giggle bubbles up and I press my cheek against the cool countertop with my eyes shut tight, just because. Eventually, cracking one eye open, just in case they thought I fell asleep, I grin at Holmes.
So, Holmes, I'm guessing you're some private detective or something.
Apparently he's a cop.
Is it Hannah? Did she pay you to look if he's been cheating or some such?
Hannah's the wife, right? What about her? How is she?
How is she or how is she? Well and good.
You haven't had her that way, have you?
Definitely the nicer of the two and sexy as sin to boot. Not a private detective then. Are you from one of them tabloids wanting to know if the Luke Wright doesn't know how to put his pants on right? Pants. I'd take the pants off of...
Here we go. Slipping. I haven't been this drunk in such a long time. It's a miracle I've even been coherent for as long as I've been right now.
I'm asking you if you've noticed any odd behavior from her.
Odd behave... You what? I wonder how she'd be drunk. I can just imagine her like the giggly sort. What do you think?
These are serious questions, Marianne. Lives might just be at stake here.
What do you expect? She's smashed.
Why am I even doing this? This is getting me nowhere, G. She's not a reliable source. The chief, let alone the courts, aren't going to take the word of a drunk. This will be dismissed, and I might be in trouble if they try to argue that I coerced a testimony out of her. This is a fucking train wreck.
You're a fucking train wreck now, if you ask me. Maybe it's about time you apply the brakes and stop for a bit.
The wave of despair that comes over the both of them is palpable. Their feelings had a taste. It'd be bitterer than the beer I'm full of. And it gets me thinking. Though thinking doesn't get me far without too much shite in my system.
You know that's not an option. Thanks for being patient, McCullough. Good luck with your work on that mansion.
Speaking of that mansion, there's something going on in that place. Something. As ocht day! No wonder Mr. Wright likes it so much. It's as fishy as he is. Rotten bloke. Maybe that Santos girl is really onto something, eh? Suspicious shite, I'm telling ya. Explains why she's so reluctant.
What do you mean that Santos girl is onto something?
Before I get another word out, there's hands on my shoulders and everything starts to spin. I quickly slap his hands away, the best I can, and send him the foulest look I can muster.
Take your hands off me, pipsqueak. I'm not a lady who's shaken or stirred unless you want me up-chucking on your pretty hair. But it's just like I said. Are you sure you aren't brain damaged or deaf? Santos girl from BRC showed us this creepy letter. You know, just like those spam stuff you get in your emails?
The amount you drink, I'm surprised you don't have brain damage at this point.
We thought it was some joke or that the girl was just a bit too green to handle a big sale like that.
Methylated spirits will do that to you.
You should have seen the look on their faces when they saw it. Whiskey? That's Luke fucking right, you get me? And the missus didn't look too happy either. I should have taken a picture and posted it everywhere. When rich snobs give you that face, no wonder the Santos girl went all mental on us. Working with them does that, you know? I think I'm about to. I'm not mental yet, am I?
Hard to tell at the moment.
Anyway, just like I said, in that man... Hey, you okay? Holmes? You're looking a bit shaky yourself there.
And he really is pale. Paler than before, at least. I can see the gears turning in his head on overtime. Suddenly, he shoves his card in my hand. On it is his name, Ashton Frey, and his number. But he has second thoughts, and he grabs it from me and slips it into my pocket.
You're cute, pretty boy. But I prefer blondies.
Well, you're not exactly my type either, lady. But listen to me. If something comes up, don't do anything rash. If you think you're in danger or if you see anything suspicious, call me and the authorities as soon as possible. You understand me? That's 99...
I know what the damn emergency number is.
Right, 999. Good. Anyway, I have to run. See you, G.
The guy's quick on his feet, already up and at him, as soon as the numbers leave his lips. Watching him as he maneuvers through the crowd of the other pub girls is enough to tire me out. Fast as he can, he's at the door and throws us a smile, and that's all we get before he's gone, just like that.
Oi, what about your drink, boy? I'll go put it on your tab then.
Holmes boy always like that, G?
Pretty much. But what about you? I suppose I'll put your drinks on your tab too. Don't want you to spill your wallets when you look like you're close to spilling yourself.
Yeah, and if it's fine by you, I think I'll go take a bit of a cat nap here. Just for a sec or two.
You need to spill yourself outside, not inside.
Go right ahead. I'll wake you when I close up shop.
Mumbling a sleepy thanks, I doze off on the spot, face pressed on the counter. Already, I dread the pain I'll have for sleeping in such a position. But when you gotta go, you gotta go. Well, this'll wake us up.
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie?
Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite. Unless you ask, that is.
Not that I can get much sleep to begin with. Do people ever have the feeling that they're working on something they really enjoy, but still, it eventually tires them out? Because honestly, I've been feeling like this.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Though movements like these make all the hard work worth it. Moments like these make all the hard work worth it. Definitely.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
We're only about halfway done, but the honest satisfaction on a client's face is enough for me to push through. Let's face it, in between my exasperation at Mr. Wright's antics and her, I've been burning the candle at both ends. I can't even close my eyes without seeing a dead girl's face. Dead girl. Dead. She's dead, I have to keep reminding myself that. Burying my feelings as deep as they've buried her body, 6 feet under. I shouldn't waste so much time on someone who's supposed to be gone. I've wasted so many years thinking about her already. There should be no need to bother myself with the dead, when I should be bothering myself with the living. Too bad the living are usually as complicated, if not more, than the ghosts of the past.
But don't you have a party?
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting. He's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
It's even more complicated when the living in question is a pair of rich and famous socialites way past their honeymoon phase. And I've been somehow roped into being their relationship counselor.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit a... how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband, but it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives.
Why she thinks a single woman like me would be the best source of relationship advice is beyond me. Still, I talk and answer to the best of my abilities. Without realizing it, I'm really pouring out a part of me that I thought were long gone. I'd like to believe my words are of some help to Mrs. Wright. If I'm honest though, they're of some help to me, like some weight has been taken off my shoulders. Lorraine.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party. Oh, you really must, Marianne.
The weight of what happened to her hasn't left me yet, did it? Maybe...
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
Maybe it's about time I changed then.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive, because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
Though I shouldn't dwell on the dead, I shouldn't just callously forget about them too. Saying that I have work left to do is an easy enough excuse to make. I know how other people see me. They see someone obsessed with their craft, that she would so easily miss things like a party for it. Outside the parlour, people hurry about here and there in preparation for the Wright's grand housewarming party. None spare me a glance as I slip past them, each working on their appointed roles and not daring to slack off while they work for what is probably the most powerful couple in Luxbourne. I make it to the kitchen with ease, the wine cellar being my final destination. But when is a great task ever simple? Probably never. And this is a great task, isn't it? My greatest one yet that is worthy of being called a quest. I'm not acting as Marianne McCall, the professional interior designer, when I chose to lie about being too busy for a party. I'm Marianne McCullough, a lawful neutral cleric with 9 points in wisdom and 8 in charisma. Just thinking of it like that makes it a bit cheesy. But it helps with the fear. It helps overcome the insane thought that I'm actively seeking out something that has been plaguing me for years. I might face my worst nightmare, or I might see nothing and find my self-imagined grand quest fall flat. And who would have thought that the gatekeeper to my final quest would be someone I thought would be a valuable ally?
Schnell! Hurry up, you snails! We are on a deadline and you are wasting my time!
The butler comes from the cellar and into the kitchen, tailed by a couple of others, people who I assume are most likely chefs and bartenders. He raises a brow, seeing me just standing there by the hatch, by the trapdoor. It almost looks like he's going to throw me out for being in the kitchen without permission. But then he motions for the others to disperse and familiarize themselves with their surroundings. Meanwhile, he continues to stand there, preventing entry into the darkest beyond.
What are you doing here, Fraulein? This is not the place for guests or in an architect right now. I request you leave.
I was just looking around for any last-minute things, yes?
Yes, you have been doing that a lot. Looking around, snooping about. Now is not the time for such things. If you're not careful, people might think you are up to something.
The look he gives me as he says this is almost chilling. If life was a game book, he'd probably be the true neutral warlock guarding the treasury room. A difficult opponent to beat with 9 points of wisdom and 8 in dexterity.
Well, I'm not done yet.
I thought you had 8 in charisma.
I actually need to go into the wine cellar. Just need a quick go at the place. So just don't mind me. I'll be out of your hair soon enough.
Go outside. Enjoy the party. Bask in the praise and adulation they will no doubt shower you with when the madam speaks highly of you. Surely you've had enough of this stuffy old kitchen by now. You do not want to cause trouble. Both the Bratwurst and Hannah want this to be perfect. It would be a disservice and disrespect to toe out of line and risk it being anything otherwise. And more importantly, I will be blamed for any failure that happens tonight.
His intervention almost turns me away. Maybe this is a sign I'm not meant to seek Lorraine out. But...
Please, it's really important.
15 minutes. 9, 10 minutes. Any longer and I'll pull you out of there myself. The bratwurst will be furious if he thinks anyone is touching his precious vine without his permission.
Thank you. This seriously means a lot.
He steps aside begrudgingly. At this point, it looks like there's no turning back. The cellar greets me ominously as I descend. The space feels smaller, with a lot more bottles lining the wall compared to before, and knowing what might be waiting for me here makes things worse. The mirror that has been moved from the study is my goal. I did not return to it after my initial discovery, but the thought of Lorraine, how much I want to see her again, even if it's just for one more time, keeps coming back to mind. As I walk through the cellar, I have to stop when I feel something crunch beneath my feet. Whatever few bottles were left behind, here and now, nothing but glass under my heels. Perhaps dropped by one of the many chefs and bartenders the butler had escorted through here before, and it made a downright mess, with red slick pooling from the remnants of a good drink. With how dark this place is, a person with a dark enough imagination can easily mistake it for blood. I cannot but think it is, despite the easy logical explanation that had come to my mind, only because of what I'm about to do. It is merely a momentary distraction as I continue to the end of the wine cellar where the mirror stands. Propped up on the far wall, it gleams innocently while pretending to be a simple and ordinary mirror. How morbid to think that this thing can show a person their deepest, most desperate desires, and then twist it into an image so dark. That's what I'd seen that day. Though I heard Lorraine many times, I had only seen her within this frame. I wonder if people have discovered it before. How many were wasted away in front of it, enamored? How many were frightened away by what they saw? Yet as I stand before it now, nothing. I can barely see my own reflection in this darkness.
How does this even work? Mirror, mirror on the wall? Something? Anything?
Nothing. Touching its surface doesn't make it magically activate or anything like that. There is no sudden surge of power and I'm not suddenly granted sight. It stays what it is. A mirror. Was Lorraine's appearance in the mirror all some sort of fever dream? Am I really that burdened with guilt and despair that my mind would eat itself in my stress and have me hallucinate such things? Either way, just going here on some crazy obsession for a girl long gone must warrant me a trip to the doctor. Already I feel ill. After a few more minutes, in the hopes that something would change, I turn around to leave. I can just go back upstairs like nothing ever happened, perhaps drop by the party for some hors d'oeuvres, then go home and collect myself. Besides, Mrs. Wright is expecting me and I'm...
Going to leave me again then, are you?
I stop in my tracks, but I don't turn back. As much as it pains me, I don't look back. If I'm just hearing her again, desperately delusional, and I look back to see nothing, I don't want to give myself false hope. But when I feel fingers around my wrist pull me, I look back in shock. My first thought is, how in God's name is this possible? And the second is, Lorraine. Her hands are cold.
Are you that mad at me that you're just going to ignore me, Marianne?
I don't know what to say. I can only stare at her and wonder. She stands there in the mirror, with only her arm extended outward for my sake. I look at the hand still holding my wrist, and when she sees me looking at it, she moves so our hands are intertwined, fingers weaved together. Seeing her there and feeling her touch means I'm not crazy, though however impossible and unexplainable this is all to me right now. It just takes my breath away. Pulling her out from there is tempting. I can imagine doing so with ease. We could be together again, Lorraine and Marianne, like nothing ever happened. But that would be all a great big lie, wouldn't it?
What? Tack out your tongue? Don't just look at me like that. Say something.
Even if this was some magic portal that could bring back the dead, it doesn't erase anything. Just look at her, still a young teenager while I'm already a grown woman. It serves no other reason than to break the illusion that binds me. I've seen her twice now, always behind the mirror. If this is real, if this isn't some delusion, then why can she only exist behind the glass?
Yeah. You have no idea how happy I am to see you. It's been so long.
You don't look happy.
I really am happy, but at the same time, I can't help but think about what happened to you.
And what does that mean? What are you saying?
She gives me this peculiar look, and before my eyes, she moves to step out of the mirror. In turn, I wrench my hand from her and take a step back, almost as if I'm afraid.
I don't know how this is possible. But whatever this is, it isn't real. You can't be real.
I'm right here, aren't I? What other proof do you need?
No. I see you. I hear you. I feel you. But even with all that, you can't be real. You just can't. I saw your body. I helped bury you. You're dead.
A deep hurt crosses her face, and it just breaks my heart in two, seeing her wear that expression.
Burying me wasn't the only thing you did. Don't you dare lie. But I'm going to be the bigger woman, aren't I? Let bygones be bygones. I'll forgive you. As long as you stay with me, Marianne. That's why you came down here, right? To find me?
That was the plan. I came down here looking for her, for closure. But this isn't just closure, this is something else entirely. I didn't think I'd be forced to make such a choice. Do I leave or do I stay? We can't stay, we'll die. This is obviously that lady that murdered Zach, right? I kind of want to click stay just to see what happens, but I know we'll die. Go, alright, move on. Oh, Jesus. We're gonna wrap this one up here, because we're out of time for today, I'm sorry, cliffhanger time. We'll probably move on though, because I know we're gonna die, and like Zach did when I tried to help, and that's probably gonna make the ending worse, I don't know. I'm trying to get the best ending I can without any like guides or anything like that. So, even though I want to stay, I don't think I should. Hope you guys enjoyed it, thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.